Round 7 of the Australian Touring Car Championship. Let's look how they'll line up. George Fury has pole position in car 30. From 2 is 3, John Harvey. From 3 is Graham Crosby. From 4, Robbie Francevic. From 5, John Bowe. From 6, Glenn Seaton. From 7 is Peter Brock. From 8, Dick Johnson. From 9, Jimmy Richards. From 10, Colin Bond. 11 is Graham Bailey. And 12 is Gary Rogers. And right behind them, David Oxton of New Zealand, Tony Longhurst, Johnny Smith and the Toyota. A full field, 24 cars. And the tension certainly has been building here over the last few minutes. We're about 10 seconds away from the start. Little George Fury has pole. Harvey starts outside of the front row. They're racing. Harvey wins the jump very cleanly too. And it's Glenn Seaton who comes up very quickly into third. And Dickie Johnson made a very good start. Jimmy Richards being muscled out there on the back behind them as they head down the front straight. And I think it could be Seaton on the outside as they stretch it, going down into the right-hander at Valvoline. Just look at this.
It's Fury on the outside. Fury dropping back into second. Then Seaton. John Bowe came up very quickly in car number 4. Graham Crosby next. Dick Johnson, Peter Brock and Robbie Francevic really copping a bad one. So John Harvey, the leader of the 7th round of the Australian Touring Car Championship, as they crest the top of the hill.
Coming down to Coca-Cola, and they sweep through here, working their way onto the back straight away. Harvey will lead it. Georgie Fury in second. His Nissan teammate Glenn Seaton is back in third. Then the first of the Volvos, followed by Graham Crosby, Dick Johnson and Peter Brock. Coming down now towards Glowweave Corner, and Harvey in the second of the mobile dealer team Commodores, looking sharp. Big crowd on the hill as they come out of Glowweave Corner and now work the front straight with 59 laps remaining. The first lap down, and the Commodore fans have gone quite wild with excitement on the hill. Harvey leads them across the straight. Fury in second. Seaton. Then, of course, John Bowe ahead of Graham Crosby. And here comes a charge down on the inside by Seaton. Brock is there, and sitting behind Brock is Dickie Johnson.
An intriguing battle, this one, on a new circuit, 2.4 kilometres. Very, very hard on brakes, a 1 kilometre long straight, and it is over 60 laps. That's almost 1 hour of racing, and it will take its toll on not only tyres but also brakes. And that will be the thing, whether or not these heavier Commodores can withstand the pressure being served up to them by the lighter, more nimble and obviously very quick Nissan Skylines and the Volvo.
Well, I tell you what, Harvey's going for broke.
Yes, certainly proving that his front row qualifying position with no fluke.
Apart from the fact having John Harvey having very good racing talent, and he has had for many, many years. Neil Lowe has been in this car for the last couple of weeks. You recall that Harvey didn't run at Surfers Paradise. Lowe has been, and there's Francevic in trouble. Robbie Francevic in real strife in car number 10. He's pulled off the circuit.
The sign says Volvo in sports, and I think Volvo in trouble. Robbie Francevic, the series leader, and this is exactly what George Fury had been aiming at, that Robbie Francevic wouldn't finish one of these rounds, and that the points count back later in the season. You drop your worst performance, and that makes Fury start to look good for a challenge on Robbie Francevic.
I was about to say that Neil Lowe has done weeks of chassis testing with this car number 3, while they gave the car a bit of a holiday from the 6th round at Surfers Paradise, and the brilliance of that engineer has made this car super sharp this weekend. And look at the comparison of car number 3 by comparison to Peter Brock's 05 vehicle. There's Francevic being pushed off in the background, just coming up to that chicane, and David Oxton there lurking in the background in the Ford Sierra Turbo. He's also doing very well.
Fury getting close to Harvey's tail here as they come up on the Coca-Cola S's and head towards Glowweave Corner once more. Glenn Seaton sitting in behind them. Then Graham Crosby, who didn't get the best of the start, followed by John Bowe, Peter Brock, Dick Johnson, David Oxton, and then Jim Richards.
Harvey working the front straight. Here comes Fury, lining him up. Goes for the inside. Harvey appears. Has he got him covered? George Fury carries on. Looks for the inside run, going down to Valvoline. And here they come, under brakes. George Fury, car number 30, pole sitter for this Coca-Cola Cup race, disputing the lead with John Harvey. And Fury now goes through to lead round 7 of the national title. There's Crosby going through.
I'll tell you what, back behind this quartet, Bowe and Brock are having quite a scrap, and Bowe's got by Brock again.
Here comes Glenn Seaton working the outside this time on John Harvey.
He'll need luck. He's not going to get close enough. Harvey maintains second place behind Fury. Then Seaton, then Crosby, then John Bowe, who's regained 5th place from Peter Brock. Some slower traffic there already.
Harvey works the hill. They all managed to get through, the slower car staying off the course, not on the racing line. A bonus for the front runners. And another one. Down the back straight, John Harvey on the inside. He's taken it. Here's Seaton. Moves right up behind George Fury. Crosby has done a bit of Neville Crichton rallycross. He'll join the circuit again off the grass.
Hasn't lost a place, but has lost some ground.
Well, that's rather strange because Fury last time was that much quicker down the front straight than John Harvey. We'll see if Fury's able to take Harvey back
And look
again.
at side by side again as they come down the straight, and Fury has a glance over through the left passenger side window and goes through into the lead in the Nissan Skyline. Harvey on the outside under brakes, and the braking ability of the Commodore surprising me. Side by side through Valvoline corner, somebody has to give, and George Fury comes out in the lead.
Magnificent move that from Harvey, and held position right on the outside of Fury. Fury once again goes out of Coca-Cola, up over the hill. Harvey and hot pursuit. Seaton is the next one back, followed by Graham Crosby, and then John Bowe and Peter Brock.
The dealer team, and Harvey getting a little sideways as he came through the chicane extremely quickly that time. My comment then was going to be that the dealer team are very happy with their 17-inch Bridgestone tyres they're running this weekend, because they're running something like 10 to 15 degrees C cooler than they would normally do, which tells you something, and that is that obviously the track temp is much lower than we've had throughout the Touring Car Championship, but the way they've refined the suspension on this car, it's not working as tyres nearly as hard.
Well,
and now Seaton with the opportunity of going through on the inside of Harvey, and can John Harvey withstand this sort of pressure?
Having a little look over to the right, Harvey says, OK, let's do it under brakes. But Seaton has the run for the turn. No, he's outfoxed by Harvey. Harvey having a great drive here in the Mobile Commodore number 3, running in second. Fury managing to pull away just a little from Harvey that lap.
Through the eyes of race cam, we see the manoeuvre being made by Glenn Seaton down this very quick straight, but he can't get away with it that time.
I think Glenn might be a little gun shy after the last couple of races. Had some trouble at Sandown and, of course, at Surfers. I don't think he probably wants to make a bold move and have everything fall apart.
Oh, look at Seaton on the brakes in the middle of a turn. You don't try and do that too often.
Coming up to the chicane. Watch how quickly they run through here. Right, left.
The news has also just come through to me that the man whose car we're looking through at the moment, Graham Crosby, is carrying a 1-minute penalty. I have not got confirmation of that. I don't know why.
I thought he blew the start. I don't think he jumped it. Oh well, that's the news. A 1-minute penalty apparently on Graham Crosby. But here's the battle for second and third. John Harvey and Glenn Seaton. Graham Crosby just on their tail, and John Bowe is closing up. So after 10 laps in this race, the top 10 positions, George Fury leads from, well, who's going to be second here out of this corner, Harvey or Seaton?
I think maybe Seaton, unless Harvey can go in deeper. No, it's Glenn Seaton who goes in. Very, very tightly indeed. So the Nissans are looking good for a 1-2 at this stage, with George Fury leading from Glenn Seaton.
Harvey in third place, followed by Graham Crosby, then John Bowe, Peter Brock, Dick Johnson, Jim Richards, David Oxton and Graham Bailey. They're the top 10.
And it's 1.9 seconds between the two lead cars at the moment. And surprisingly, the man who we thought may have moved through the field a little quicker, Peter Brock, hasn't done that. And in fact, John Bowe is now shaking him well away as we take a look at the Castrol scoreboard in the top 3. George Fury leading from Glenn Seaton, and in third place, John Harvey in the Commodore.
The Australian Touring Car Championship Round 7, the Coca-Cola Cup, continues at Calder Raceway, and we're following this great scrap between John Harvey in car number 3 and Graham Crosby. This time Computers Commodore number 6 as they work the front straight, with John Bowe closing on them.
13 laps down, 47 remaining. This is a battle, and Crosby pulls out to have a go under brakes. Can he get close enough? I don't think so. Harvey will hold station there, but John Bowe is coming in very quickly on the back of this pair.
Really sit back and enjoy the skill of Graham Crosby now via our 7 Sport race cam through these very tricky S's, and Crosby just pulling out. Always just seems to be in just the wrong moment, or wrong spot at the wrong moment at the moment. And as soon as he gets a chance to straighten up, it'll be interesting to see how he goes. You notice Harvey tapping his brakes through the straight, so there's already some temp coming up into the brakes in the car.
So Harvey works down towards Glowweave corner. Crosby all over him. And right back behind them, you can see now John Bowe going through, and Peter Brock has actually joined the freight train as well. There's race cam looking out the back of the Systime Computers Commodore, and John Bowe closing slightly on Graham Crosby.
perhaps even just a little more than slightly. He's pulled well away from Peter Brock, and he's right on the pace now. And look at Crosby. This time he's got a better run. Closes under brakes. There's the shot from race cam. Harvey at the wheel working. Crosby locks a brake. Harvey back down through on the inside and manages to take the placing away from him once more. But look at Crosby unleashing the horsepower, and through again on the inside goes John Harvey. John Bow in there as well. How did he survive that?
And John Bow is now ready to roll towards the front. He's caught Crosby. Crosby may be held up by John Harvey, but Bow wants to get on even terms, despite the fact he's got his front bumper almost falling off with the little Nissans.
I've got a feeling that Crosby's car is understeering just a little, or is driving very deep into turns. He seems to run very well wide in these tighter turns. Incidentally, George Fury lapping in 62.1 seconds, so that's just a second off his qualifying pace.
Here's a go.
Harvey, Crosby in 6, and John Bow on the Valvoline Volvo, number 4.
They're holding down 3rd, 4th, 5th on the racetrack at the moment, and barely more than 5 seconds separate the top 5.
Oh, what a manoeuvre. John Bow with his head down and the tail of the Volvo up, goes through on the inside, and Crosby would not have known where he came from.
That gives you an indication of just how quick that Volvo is at the end of the straight here at Calder.
And the talent of John Bow, the Australian driving champion in the Formula 1 class, or Mondial as we know it. His big chance this year with the Works Volvo team. And you can tell when he gets that head tilted forward that anything can happen. Next man on his list, John Harvey. Oh, look at Crosby. He's run wide in all sorts of strife. What will he do this time? Oh, how did he survive that one?
Well, it gets you back out on the racetrack, but it cools the tyres down a bit too.
Keeps going in that direction. He'll end up on runway 27.
Not wrong, Baldo. Coming out of the bend now as they come the front straightaway. Fury from this and about 2 car lengths back between those 2 cars, then 100 back to John Harvey, with John Bow ready to strike. And I think Bow will make his move here on the inside, and he does just that. Has a little look, and down under brakes he comes on Harvey. So John Bow.
Well, that's just brilliant driving, and obviously the Volvo with the braking capability to back up the driver. The luckiest fellow on the racetrack has to be Graham Crosby. He's gone off twice and never lost a place in any of the manoeuvres.
At the wheel of the number 6, this time Commodore, with 40 laps remaining. He's in 5th place in the Coca-Cola Cup, round 7 of the Australian Touring Car Championship.
I'll tell you what, Graham looks busier than Hans Tholstrup on his off-road activities.
Well, it certainly is busy, but I'm a bit concerned. I saw a board held out with a 1-minute penalty. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, our information is, Graham, that they've pinged you for jumping the start.
Oh, rubbish.
Yeah,
God, they've been picking on me all day.
Have they really?
Yeah, yesterday it was because I missed a checkered flag. And then, some other problem before, but they're just waiting to get their own back on me. I never jumped the start. I learned from last time.
Tell me this, you've had some interesting off-track excursions so far. It's been a bit thrilling.
Yeah, these things aren't too bad to drive when you got brakes.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
Yeah, I'm really having to use half the body as well, because I seem to have pushed the brake down and there's a big piece of steel under the bottom, so I don't know what the hell's happening. I think I've got the brake bias is okay, but I don't think the front brakes are working as good as they should. And of course, the back brakes are working very good. So I have to go into the corners and the back seems to want to overtake the front all the time.
Cros, how are those new tyres working for you?
Oh, they were new. Actually, I'm pretty lucky because the tyres that I've got on the car at the moment are the ones I started Surface Paradise with. So if anything, Brocky's done me a good turn. Hasn't cost me $1,300 for a set of tyres.
I said before, I reckon you're the luckiest bloke on the track. You've taken 2 excursions in the grass, but you didn't lose a place.
No, that's a trick round. You don't have to lose any time round here. Because the corners, when you do come off, they sort of coincide with where you get back on again. I'll just see if I get past this thing. Now, well, thank you.
That makes life a bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, but hang on, I'm going to get around the corner first.
Can you feel yourself making any ground up on John Harvey?
Oh, yeah, but look at these other blokes. These Commodores really have a brake problem. And I notice I've got, John in front of me, but I've got Peter creeping up behind as well. Just as long as it stays there, I'll be happy.
What about the new circuit, Graham? You enjoying it?
Yep, I can verify that the grass is very slippery when you get off.
It's all part of the fun.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Well, you had bad luck, of course, in Surface Paradise with a no finish there. And where you're running on the road at the moment, I would think that the other Commodore drivers would be having similar brake problems.
Yep.
That was very good, Graham.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, it was excellent.
Oh, there's another one. Yeah, that's a problem I can see with John. He's definitely got a brake problem. Now, I don't know what about Peter. He seems to be coming through. Now, I don't know whether he's got the same sort of problem as what I've got. I'm having to brake very, very early.
Unless,
he's right on your hammer now, Cros.
Oh, that's all I need for you to tell me he's there as well.
What about we let you go and get on with that for a while? We'll come back to you later.
Yeah, okay, no problem. I just have to make sure that Peter, when he does pass me, doesn't take one of his guards with him.
Good luck, Ross.
Okay, cheers.
Graham Crosby, race cam. There's George Fury. That little yarn he gave us then comes by virtue of the fact that he borrowed some front mudguards from Peter Brock because he couldn't buy any from any Holden dealers in the last couple of weeks. Spares are pretty tight at the moment. There's Fury leading from Glen Seaton.
In the meantime, well, let's pick up on this particular incident at the end of AGC Straight. That's Murray Carter. Oops.
Drew Price in the front-wheel drive Corolla taking evasive action. Jim Richards goes through neatly. Likewise, Dick Johnson. So Drew coming off second best there in car number 11.
Well, Murray driving the unsponsored, I shouldn't say that, the non-factory Nissan. Meanwhile, back at the front of the pack.
The front of the pack is closing rapidly on the chicken.
Oh, George has got it around sideways.
Saved it. Oh, gee, that was a very narrow escape for the race leader, George Fury. Almost ran right up under the tail of Graham Bailey's car.
They come out of the bend. We'll see them on the front straight as we get the wide look at as they come across the line. And there is Fury in 30. Now, Fury, I would think, would have the message. The bow is starting to climb all over Glen Seaton. Seaton wants to protect the lead that Fury's built up.
Well, I reckon Seaton's having a go, and he is.
He is now.
If George has got a problem, then he shouldn't hold back. He just should go for it. He'll regret it in years to come if he doesn't. So Seaton now in the lead, car 15. I think it's the first time this young fellow has led around to the Australian Touring Car Championship, and what a fine job he's doing. George Fury back into second. The great shot of the cars come across the top of the hill. And look at Bow.
Straight down on the inside. Sorry, George. Bow's through. Their second spot goes to Volvo.
I reckon Fury may have some sort of problem.
Yes,
he wouldn't be that complacent normally. Graham Bailey there in the Chickadee Commodore behind. He's had some terrible handling problems all weekend. So John Bow on the move. Car number 4 in second position, having qualified in 5th position on the grid.
So Fury is back to 3rd. Glen Seaton now takes over the front running for the Peter Jackson Nissan team. And a handy lead too over John Bow, George Fury. That's the order. Then a long way back then to Graham Crosby in the number 6 Systime Computers Commodore.
And Crosby has given both Harvey and Brock a real caning and continues to pull the gap away.
Well, considering he's had 2 off-track excursions, he's done very well. He's obviously got the right tyres.
Bow is using the new Dunlop Radial, what they call DO6 soft racing compound.
Check of lap times will tell you why Glen Seaton's in front. 61.49.
Let's recap the placings for you. Glen Seaton leads in the Skyline. John Bow on the Volvo second. And Farmer George is third. At Calder Park for the Coca-Cola Cup. Here's our race leader, Glen Seaton, coming down the back straight. John Bow in hot pursuit. Uh-oh, and Seaton's unloaded it. Deary me, the race leader has gone. And there goes John Bow through. So Glen Seaton in car number 15 leading the race, not with too much pressure on his shoulders. Gets it around sideways. Fury's gone through. That will drop him at least back to 3rd on the road. And John Bow in car number 4, the Valvoline Volvo, has now gone through to take the lead and still trying to put that lap on Dick Johnson. Unbelievable.
Drew Price got tangled up in that as well in car 11. Sensational stuff. John Bow now the leader of round 7, the Coca-Cola Cup, the Volvo dealer team entry car number 4. And I've got the watch on him. He is now 1.7 seconds clear of George Fury.
And Seaton has got back on the track in 3rd place, just ahead of Graham Crosby, followed in turn by Peter Brock and John Harvey.
I've also got the clock on the gap from 2nd back to 3rd, and Seaton is 11.2 seconds further behind, and then the gap back to Crosby is a further 3.4 seconds. That gives you some idea of the splits between the top four.
And Dick Johnson has now been lapped, as he feared he would be.
Now, I guess the question to be answered is whether or not Fury can come back now. Whether or not Seaton was used to pace Bow a little quicker. Running to team orders, who knows? But there's Dick Johnson. He's being passed. Here's another one of the slower cars, 88. John White and the Gemini.
10 laps to go.
So White is passed by John Bow and the Valvoline dealer team Volvo. The Volvo dealers of Australia who have supported this team throughout 1986.
Incidentally, Peter Brock has now passed his teammate John Harvey, but is a long way behind Graham Crosby. There's the gap first to second. Fury at the top of screen. And it's pretty well a straight length back to the nearest man after that.
Dick Johnson goes in deep, but going in even deeper is George Fury in car number 30. And we've had almost an unbelievable situation of Glenn Seaton, basically with a little pressure off his shoulders, and then something has gone wrong down the back straight. Whether or not he's hit a touch of oil and gone off, we don't know, but he unloaded the car down there in the rough. And that has put John Bow in front, with obviously George Fury chasing.
Fury yesterday taking his 4th pole position so far this season. Results so far a second.
Stood up the front row in every race.
Yeah.
So that's a remarkable effort, and 2 race wins up his sleeve. And as we've mentioned already, with Robbie Francevic out of the race very early today, a win here today would really throw down a big challenge to the NZer from George Fury for the touring car title.
Here's Peter Brock in 05. Peter...
5th place on the racetrack now.
5th.
Started very slowly, qualified, well, I was going to say slowly, that's not fair, 7th fastest. But he's making a very late move in the race, has just got past his teammate John Harvey, but as Neil Crompton said, he's got a lot of ground to catch up on the leading division.
He's now 3.4 seconds clear of Harvey, and as you glance out the commentary box, it's physically half a lap between Brock and the leader John Bow disappearing up the back straight.
Well, Brock and his team have been playing at setting their car up for enduro racing, particularly the 24-hour race at Spa the first weekend of August.
They're testing next Wednesday and Thursday out here for 26 hours with Alan Moffat, Neil Lowe, John Harvey and Peter Brock. 14 sets of tyres and back-to-back running. So that's going to be very interesting, but they're going to have to find just a little bit of pace, because at the moment the Volvos and the Nissans are hard charging. Brock locking up a front right as he goes through the right-hander at the S's. And just check the computer sheet, and the fastest man on the circuit still Glenn Seaton with a 61.4, but John Bow now down to 61.57. So there's Graham Crosby and going through the shot, and there's the 2 dealer team cars. It's Peter Brock in car 05, and then John Harvey, the 2 Toyota dealer team cars there in the background. And there's Harvey, the man that led this race for a while, and his teammate Peter Brock again locking up a front brake. I think that it's brakes that's their big problem. I think the pace of the car is fine. The job that Neil Lowe and the team have done in setting up the handling has been tremendous, but they certainly seem to be having some worries getting into corners. The race has been going now for coming up to around about the 1 hour mark.
Well, the man who took pole position, George Fury, and is currently running in second on the track, in our pre-race interview said brakes will tell the tale here today. The car with the best brakes will win.
There's Brocky, and there's Bow coming up to put a lap on Tony Longhurst in the BMW JPS 325. Tony has been very quick through this part of the circuit. We haven't seen too much of him in the race, but of course he's been down the back. And but on this part of the circuit, he's been brilliant to watch. Just look how close he is to Bow, even as they climb up the hill. Now horsepower will come into play when they go through the chicane, and then of course he'll lose sight of John Bow.
One fellow who apparently is having a few problems is Graham Crosby in car number 6. So as soon as we can, we might have a look at Cros and see what his problems are. And there's the man.
Cros, have you got problems?
Well, I've got all my instruments are telling me I'm in dire trouble. Well, this thing here, the differential temperature looks like it's gone round about 3 times, so I'm a bit worried about that. The G box, Jeff, is not actually the glove box temperature, it's the gearbox temperature. I've got both pumps on, as you can see, and we've got water temperature, which is this one here. I don't know whether you can see it or not.
Yeah.
Well, that's where it should be. I've got a red light flashing over the other side, and oil temperature up around 120, which is okay, and I've got no rear brakes, so yeah, everything's going fine.
I notice you had your brake bias wound fully up to the front. That's to compensate for the rears, is it, Graham?
Now, I'll show you how I brake. I put the brakes on hard till there's nothing left, and then I just lock up the back brakes with the gearbox and go to slow it down a bit. It's not a very good thing, obviously, because of the differential and gearbox trouble that could arise out of it, but it's about the only way I can stop it.
That's lucky you're an old superbiker. You know how to do it tough.
Yeah, I hope this gearbox is harder and a lot stronger than old Kawasaki 1000 gearbox.
The red light that's flashing on the dash there, that's your oil pressure warning, is it, Graham?
Well, they say it's a warning, yes, but I'm not taking much notice of it now because I've only got, about 5 laps to go. That'll teach me to look. Got 5 laps to go, so I'm not really worried about it. It's been like that for a while. It'll, I don't know whether you can see it, but the actual, the temperature itself, the pressure, sorry, is, it's not too much of a problem because it runs about 125, 130 pounds, whatever it is, before it actuates the stop switch.
Well, mate, you're doing a great job. You've still got a very healthy gap over Peter Brock in car 05, so you should be able to coast home from here.
Chuckle, chuckle, snortle, snortle. Good, whoop. I'm going to get home, yep.
You like a slide, Graham?
Oh, yeah, it's good fun. I haven't left any paint on any of these tyres yet.
All right, Cross, thanks very much for talking to us, and we'll look forward to seeing you a bit later on.
OK, no problem.
There's Gary Rogers in the Bob Jane BMW number 34. Rogers position 11 at the moment, just out of the top 10, but he's been circulating quite nicely. There's John Bauer, ready to put a lap on Gary Rogers. And faithful Murray Carter is there with about 4 laps remaining in the Coca-Cola Cup with Calder from Calder. Let's recap the placings for you. Johnny Bow on the Valvoline Volvo leads. George Fury is second, and Glenn Seaton is third. What a finish we have coming up for the Coca-Cola Cup here at Calder with George Fury coming from nowhere in that last quarter lap. John Bow has slowed appreciably coming through the bottom part of the course as they head up the hill. And Fury coming back through the field. There he is, car number 30. So Fury goes through to take the lead with about 2.5 laps remaining. The scrap between George Fury and John Bow. Well, there wasn't a scrap, Neil Crompton. He just arrived and went straight past him.
I don't know how he did it. It was only a couple of minutes. There was a gap of around about 3 or 4 seconds between John Bow and George Fury, and all of a sudden Fury made up an enormous amount of distance. Perhaps Bow had a problem, or Fury decided to go on with the job. In fact, as I look out my commentary box now, I can tell you that Bow has had some problems because he's dropping well away from the back of the lead car. There he is in the background. Now, the gap back to our third place, Glenn Seaton, is still fairly substantial. In fact, with all the panic on here, I'm trying to sort out some times. The last lap board has come out. This will be the most sensational finish of one of the rounds we've seen in a long time. George Fury, I think, is going to come home scot-free. And how he got away with that, I'll never know. And I guess that he's probably saying the same thing.
Well, Fury heads up the hill, drops down into the next turn of Coca-Cola, and easing away gradually from John Bow. In fact, he's opened a huge gap up on John Bow, who's still to come into sight. Last lap, the Peter Jackson Nissan Skyline of George Fury heads down to the right-hander, comes through here, down to Glow Weave.
It's 8.3 seconds from Fury to Bow, but Bow is coming under threat from Seaton as George Fury comes through Glow Weave corner for the last time at the end of 60 laps for round 7 of the 1986 Australian Touring Car Championship for the Coca-Cola Cup, and it'll be George Fury who takes the checker. Look back for the battle for second and third, and Bow on the inside in the Volvo, and Seaton's rounded him up. Glenn Seaton and car number 15 will take second placing, and Bow will finish in third. What a sensation.
Orchestrated finish, you would think, on behalf of the Peter Jackson Nissan team.
Graham Crosby will be in 4th position. Peter Brock will be 5th.
And closing all over Graham Crosby. In fact, Brock picked up a lot of ground in the last couple of laps. However, there's your race winner, George Fury, in car number 30, the Peter Jackson Nissan Skyline. 2 laps from the finish. Let's recap the placings for you. In the Coca-Cola Cup, the Calder from Calder. Fury is the race winner. His teammate, Glenn Seaton, takes second. And John Bow, after all of that good work, finishes up with 3rd place.